This conference will now be recorded.
Now today topic would be business process flows, right? So when we talk about business process flow, we need to have a little bit understanding, okay, how an organization deals with their end-to-end process of customers or whatever the things which is there. Okay, let's say if you open, let me show you something like in the YouTube. Okay, just see what I'm trying to explain. Okay, what do we call BMW car manufacturing video. Okay, now you see there is n number of stages are there when we go with first thing. You see how the a product is started. What is this? Come on, yaar. Yeah, you see here the car, the end result of the car is this one, and the starting point for the car is this raw material. And eventually when you see this one, what is the car which is available, and this is the car, right? So from starting to ending of this process, there will be a n number of like functionalities or n number of stages that raw material has to go to in different sections or different production units, and eventually it has to go out, right? So this entire process, like if you want to keep in the system, okay, so that you can achieve with the business process flows. The similar way when we go with hospital management, patient life cycle, right? When we talk about patient life cycle, now how the patient is going to enter into the hospital and how he will be exit from the hospital, that is the key point. In this scenario, what is the services that we are going to provide? Patient enter into the hospital with issue. Now that will be resolved by the doctor or any one person in the hospital, and he will go out from the hospital, right? Now you will be having a entry and followed by exit. There are two things are there. Now how the entry will happen when we talk about a patient, it's like a registration. And how the exit will be there, it will be like a discharge, right? Now in this scenario, the entry and exit concept, what are the stages will be there and how that can be accommodate in the system. Okay, right now we will discuss in detail by using business process flow and followed by what are the stages is available. Let's see what are the stages are available here. First stage, it is a registration. Okay, second stage, it's like a doctor consultancy. Okay, once doctor consultancy is there, now you'll go, let's say discharge. It doesn't mean that every person has to be discharged, but discharge is a name saying that you need to pay some amount and you have to go out, right? So once the doctor consultancy is done, doctor will decide whether that person is required for medication or not. Okay, medication is one of the stage. Okay, now this medication will be there in a two area. One, The person will take the medicine from the pharmacy and he will go out from the hospital. That is a one scenario. But doctor will decide whether he has to admit in the hospital or not. Okay, once he has admitted in the hospital, so he has to go with a certain medication, let's say saline and some injections, and followed by some observation tests. All these things has to be done. Then eventually he will go out from the hospital, right? That is a discharge. Now, on the basis of this knowledge, I would like to work with a business process flow, because we understand patient life cycle, how it is there in the system. Now, this concept, how it will be there in the system and how to use this business process flows, let's see. Right now, I'm not explaining what it is going to do, and parallelly, we will understand. Okay, let's go to settings. From a theoretical perspective, what is a business process flow? Business process flow is one type of process where it will give a flexibility to the uh, end user with the proper guidance, how the process looks like. Okay, how the business process will work, or business uh, you can say what are the stages is there, something like that. You can define whatever you want, but the ultimate goal I will explain. Just give me a second. Now let's open our solution. Right, so business processes will be created in the processes functionality. Click on new. Now I will say patient life cycle. Okay, now business process flow. I'm going to create a business process flow. Okay, and on which entity we are targeting? We are targeting on the patient entity. Now forget about this run as task flow. We will see later and how it looks like at the end. It's a classic UI. Run process as a business process flow. Okay, just keep it aside this name, what exactly it means. I will talk about this a little bit later. Okay, now we are creating a one business process flow. Right, so you see we have created one business process flow. When you open this one, it will be like unified process designer. It will be landed into unified process designer. Okay, now if you see this one, it is similar like a business tool creation. Now you will be having a flow composition. Okay, so when we talk about flow, it contains stage and condition components. Okay, I'll just show you how to use these stages. Okay, now what I have done, I have dragged 4 stages. Now this is first stage, which I'm going to name it as, let's say, registration. Apply. We have done with first stage. Second stage, doctor consultancy. Apply. Third stage, let's say uh, medication. Right. And fourth stage, discharge. Done. Now what we have done, we have created a business process flow and we have divided into 4 stages. each individual stage when I'm trying to save, I have not defined anything inside this one. So you see, process may need further validation for activation. I've saved it. It is saved. Let's see when I'm trying to activate, is there any issue is going to happen? See, when you're trying to activate, it has given some error. Okay, there is a 4 errors are there. Each individual stage is required one data step. Okay, this is one of the data step. Okay, for now in the business process flow, we will discuss only about data step, workflow, action, flow. These 3 things we will discuss in the next classes. Once we understand, for example, if you want to go with, let's say, a workflow step, first you need to understand what is a workflow. Then again, you can come back to business process flows, right? The similar way, just a second, right? Now, let's use only data step right now. Then we will go with next stages, next steps. Okay. Click on this data step. Let's say mobile number. And here you have to select the current entity fields. Okay. Like say mobile phone required. Apply. Now, if you want to add one more data step, you can just drag and drop here. Let's say name, or else whatever the full name or whatever is it. Let's put email. Email also is one of the mandatory thing. Name it as email. Apply. We have added 2 data steps, right? Second thing. So in this section, doctor, forget about this one. In the patient, what's happening? Yeah, here. This is doctor related data, and I would like to have a doctor field here. Save. Okay. Now coming to next medication, let's use the data step, and I'll just put spent hours. Hours spent in the hospital. So I've just used this one. Now coming to fourth one, discharge. In this one, let's use the discharge amount. Okay, apply. What we have done, we have added 4 stages using, in the flow section, we have a stage component, and we have given the different names which we have discussed here, right? Now each individual stage we have created one data step. Okay, in the front end side we'll see what is the purpose of that data step. Okay, save. Now activate. Come on. Right. Is it activated? Right. So it is activated. Okay. I'll come back here again with the different components. Let's see in the front end side how it looks like. Where is our hospital management application? So we are targeting on the patient entity. Now let's create a new patient entity record. Earlier you have not seen something and now you are going to see something, a new UI. You see here, this we call it as a business process flow from a front end wise. Okay. See here, this is like as a end user who is operating the system, this is like help for them. What is the current stage of the patient? Okay. And what is the process which is going to follow in the any kind of organization? Now if I look at here, for the registration purpose, mobile number is mandatory. You see, whatever the mobile number that we have added. Now if I, for example, let's say uh, business process flow demo, I have saved this record. It is saved. Okay. Now why, what is the purpose of that mandatory mobile number? Okay. As per the organization standards, as per the organization's flow, once you want to go with any kind of doctor consultancy, you need to go to this specific doctor. So when you're trying to move from one stage to another stage, so until you provide this mobile number, okay, so you are not allowed to go to next stage. Okay. When you add this one, you see there is a mobile phone is empty. And when you go to next, try to observe here, the one which is there is a saved. You see, it is saving, which means that whatever you have added the data here, it is going to save in this record itself. Okay. So I can come back from last stage to like first, now whatever the stage is there to back. See, which is active as a right now here. I can go to next stage. Okay. Every time a save will be there in the system. Now if you want to go from one place to another place, like a one stage to another stage, you need to fill this information, which doctor that consultancy is done next. For example, how many hours you have spent, let's say 34 or 24 hours. Go to next one. Now eventually this discharge amount will decide whether you have to pay it or how much amount you have to pay. And where is that? So I think this Raghu doesn't have a details. Okay, what I'll do, 1900 save and close. Okay, now you see discharge amount calculated as a 10,000. So finally, okay, boss, to discharge you, you have to pay the 6,850 rupees. Then finish this guy life cycle in the system so that he can get discharged from the system by paying the 6,850 bucks. Okay, are you guys following? Any doubt so far? Right. So right now you see each individual stage which we have defined. Now coming to condition component. Okay, let's see how to use that one here. Now I'm just dragging here. Once doctor confirms, then only we have to go for a medication. Otherwise, it's a direct discharge only. Okay. Now you see, I would like to add condition saying that required to admit question mark also. Now I want a one more field here like a boolean. So which doesn't have, let's create one field in the system on the patient entity, new field. It's a question mark and this should be a boolean field. Save and close. Okay. Now F5, let's refresh and it will populate here. Did you observe something? When I'm trying to update this business process flow, I have not deactivated this. Without deactivating itself, I'm trying to edit this functionality. Let's see. So I've done this and required to admit question mark, required to admit. Okay. If it is yes, then only this is go to positive scenario. If it is no, then take the connector, connect to, sorry, connect, reconnect. You see, this is how you can connect with a next step. If this scenario paused, then only you can go to this section. Otherwise, go to this section. Let's try to update. Let's see what is going to happen. There is an error. What is that error? If you want to use any component in the condition or any field in the condition, that field must be available before that stage. When you create a condition, it can you only use steps from the previous stage. What does that mean? I'm going to add one more data step saying that required to admit. Let's select this field, required, apply. Okay. So this is a how whatever this has to be updated by the doctor. Okay. So whether he has to go with the next stage like medication or he has to go from out of the hospital. Let's update this one. Now you see we are not deactivating anything and we are eventually just clicking on the update itself. That is the business process flow functionality. Now let's refresh this one. So this is already ended, right? So let's create a new record. Okay. This is already completed, which we don't need to touch. Right. Come on, yaar. Check condition on PPF. Save. We have just created the record. Now I would like to move to, you see here, we do not have any third stage visible by default. It depends on the condition that is going to visible. Okay. Now to move from to here, so I will just add 1, 2, 3, which is the registration is completed. Next stage. Let's add a doctor, right? Now depends on this field, the next functionality will be displayed. Okay. If it is no, so this is the issue, I believe, though I have selected no also. You see here, with if it is a no, it is good. What is this? No is a value, right? Okay. You see, based on this value, it is displaying and it is coming. So for a helpful purpose, like you can create a option set as well. If this is giving an issue, sometimes you can raise it to Microsoft that boss, this is the issue. The value is there. It is not taking functionality, though it is a no value. See, required to admit required fields must be filled in. We have filled the no value. It is not taking, right? Save, go here. Okay. So to work with whether the next stage should go to or it has to end depends on this field. You can work with it. Yeah, what is this? Is a bug or what? Fine. So depends on this functionality. Like you can go with the next stage, and based on that functionality, you can go to another stage. Okay. This is how the amount calculation. Let's say 26,000 he has to pay at the end. So eventually, this is from an end user point of view. That guy doesn't need to worry about. Okay, if he wants to move from here to here, he must have to fill. From here, you can understand which stage has to work by which people. For example, registration has to be done by the receptionist. Doctor consultancy has to be moved by the doctors. Medication has to be done by the, let's say, doctor also. Again, let's say medication is done and he has to go to discharge. That also has to be done by the doctors. These two sections. Discharge, whether he has to finish it or not, he has to done by the, let's say, finance or whatever the commercial people are there, whoever the person, let's say manager or finance manager, whoever has to approve, then only that guy has to be discharged. Okay, is this amount paid? Okay, then you can add one more uh, boolean field and you can use it. Right now you see there is an issue with boolean which you are trying to achieve something and which is not happening. Then what you can do is you can use the option set field, create two options and use if it is a null or not, something like that. Okay, so based on that value also you can use this next stage going or not. Any
If it
doubts?
is an if it is a null value, it won't give any error, right?
Try that one. You see, sometimes Microsoft also doesn't know whether this is a bug or not. You have to give them in the portal, boss, there is a bug is available which we need to take care of that. Okay, so this is how you can play with this functionality. Okay, you try to do something with the boolean field, and though you are well aware of that, there is a value is available. Okay, how we can see whether this value is available? Try to go and add this field in the form or else go with the advanced find check. So I was expecting this functionality to be done with no value, but it is not happening. You can raise a bug to Microsoft that was this is an issue. And how you can replace this functionality? Let's go and add one more field. And let's come on, yeah. What is the suggestions? Admit and create a option sets. Let's add a 2 option sets. And yes, no. Now here you can add a default value as no, so that it will not give you the null value issue for you, right? So this kind of troubleshooting you need to do, then only you'll get a confident how the system is going to work. Now let's remove this field from here and use the let me refresh once. Okay, admit. Okay, apply. Now in the condition also I would like to change it to admit. If it is a yes, then only the positive scenario. Okay, the negative scenario is no, right? Update. Let's see how it looks like. Testing condition 1 2 3. Next stage. You see the default value is there with option set value. That's why it is not giving an error, though it is a no. Okay, you can check whether it is a null value. So null value it is not allowing, right? So which means that you need to fill some of the data. For this one, it will be good if you give as a default value as a no. Your doubt clarified, Ram? Why this is? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, it's working. Right. So you can go to next stage and followed by eventually whatever the values that you have filled, it will be impacted. Eventually, it will be calculated that specific amount. Now the final version will be this will be handled by the finance manager or finance operator, whoever is there, and that guy will complete it as a finish. Okay, so after some time, like if you want to validate anything, you can see, let's say this guy is available, one of the guy is available in the doctor consultancy. If someone asks you like what is the current situation of the patient, now you see, so this is there in the doctor consultancy, so whether he has required or admitted, so they'll say okay, this person is required to admit in the hospital, so we have to taken care of this one. Okay, right now you are seeing only new records which is available, and this ribbon is visible for you. What about existing records? Let's say Bindu Madhavi, I don't see any ribbon here. That business process flow ribbon is not available. How to activate this? Let's go to processes, switch process. You see there is a one process is available, add it. Now this is the initial. Let's fill some value. Now you will understand what is a mandatory. Now do you have a doctor here? Yes. Whether he is required to admit or not? Yes, he required. Go to next stage. Medication, how many hours he has done? Let's say 36. Next, and whether he paid amount, you can add one more field here, and eventually that amount calculation will be there. Maybe this doctor doesn't have details. Okay, now eventually finish that finish that record. This is discharged. Now in the future, when things comes, okay, when this discharge happened, everything you can understand. Okay, this is happened here, and this is completed. This stage also completed. So if there is any time lag is there, that also you can see. For example, XYZ ABC save. Now each individual stage also you can see something active for less than 1 minute. If you open this one after 1 hour, it will show, okay, this stage is active for 1 hour. After 10 days also it will show like that, how many days it is there. Okay, that is how the stage time also will be calculated in the system. Okay, right. Now the very important thing would be, we will discuss about this three components later when the topic comes, and we have seen these snippets as well. We have seen how to use this one, save as, deactivate, all these things. Edit security role is all about security module. We'll discuss that later. Now if I expand this one, you see there is a entity which is created in the system. This is the name of the entity. If I click on this one, you see, whenever you create a business process flow, there will be a background entity will be created. And what are the fields for that? You can see some 23 fields are there. Do you have any form for that? We have only one form, which is a main form. Generally this form will not be displayed for us, but anyway, you see how it looks like the form. Whatever the stages that you have given, this is coming as a form. Okay, but the arrangement also you can see here. Okay, but what is our expectation? When you open when you see at the form, you will expect something like this. It's not like that. It will be like whatever you are seeing this window, that will be the form of your a ribbon. That's it. Okay, now what is the purpose of background entity? Let me go and look at the advanced find. I would like to search for patient entity lifecycle. Click on this. Now so far you see here, if I'm trying to open this record, let's see what's going to happen. It is opened a patient entity record, not the patient lifecycle entity record, which means that you cannot open this record. You have to see only on the advanced find. Okay, as a read only kind of thing. Now based on this functionality, this record, you will understand which stage is there, and every record. For example, I'm going to create a new record. Right now, what is the count? 5. Now, let's add some XYZ, let's say, or record count. Save. So right now, your business process flow active. Let's refresh. See, the record count is increased, and that record count record is at the stage of registration. Okay. Now, if I move this record to next stage, now subsequently this record also will be updated. You see, it's there in the doctor consultancy. Whenever you change the stage, so it will be updated like this. Now, you might get a requirement saying that automatically update the stage of business process flow using a JavaScript or using a code. So for that one, you need to play with this records. How you will retrieve? You will retrieve this based on this record data. You have this record ID and fetch the record ID based on this value. Okay. Are we clear so far? Any doubts? Okay, I'll consider as no doubts. I think that's it for business process flow, and you can just troubleshoot, or you can just Google it more. Try to play with this one. Again, we'll come back with understanding of the workflow actions in the next classes. Once we understand this one, again we'll come back and we'll try to edit these flows. Okay, right. I think we are good. So that's it for today, and we'll continue tomorrow. Yes, for tomorrow class, let me stop this recording.